Hiya! What's going on out of YouTube?
Yo, what's up out there, everyone?
This is SCL0320.
This is Joe Johnson 030. Thank you for tuning in one more time.
One more time. We're back, y'all. You see this? Like that, y'all. Like that, y'all. Like, sorry. No, all seriousness, we're back for a spoiler-filled TV show review of the show Supergirl that's not out yet. We got an early preview of it. It did kind of leak out online. We will not be showing any footage of it. We're only going to be talking about our perspective on it. We did a non-spoiler review, so if you haven't seen it, go check out the non-spoiler review if you have not seen this episode. If you want to be spoiled, though, this is the place you're going to get it. So there was a lot of stuff that kind of was crazy in this show. Jimmy Olsen was African American. They had some serious CG in this episode where Supergirl stopped the plane. She got shot down with some kryptonite darts.
First episode, I was like, dang. I told Sam, I was like, dang, they pulled the kryptonite out already. It's like the first episode, yo. Like, I was like, usually you would think they'll kind of prolong that into the season, like, oh, you have this weakness. Nah, there's like, yeah, cuz you ain't going nowhere.
I mean, I don't even know. I mean, well, spoiler alert. I mean, this is spoiler review though. Her sister, the Danvers, like basically Supergirl, in the beginning of everything, 24 years ago, she was supposed to be, she's a little bit older than, she's a lot older actually than Clark, because Clark was still a baby and he got sent off. This was as Krypton was exploding, but what you don't know is that she got sent right after him by her parents, and they told her like, you need to go and protect Clark, you're going to be stronger than XYZ. And as they were going out, when Krypton exploded, it threw her off trajectory and she got pushed into the Phantom Zone. Now, I don't know if this is going to be any kind of connection at all to the cinematic universe, because if it is, then she was in there with General Zod and them, which that wouldn't work because they got broken out, or I don't know. I really don't know. But she got sent to the Phantom Zone, and then eventually she got pushed back out. Now, whether or not somebody sent her, it really has not been identified how she got out of the Phantom Zone. It just said that she ended up back on Earth. And on Earth, she meets up with the Danvers, but really, Clark was the one that actually found her ship. And he brought her to the Danvers and introduced them, and she met with her sister and everything like that. But she grew up civilized, and she decided not to use her powers, but really she wanted to try to be normal because of everybody else being around her being normal. That's what her parents wanted her to do, and that's what her sister wanted her to do. So even it gets moving like 24 years or 20-something years later, she's working as an assistant with Cat Grant. Cat Grant, if you looked at Smallville or any of the other series, like she's real notable with like the news or the reporter side of the newspaper, but she's her boss. Ally McBeal plays her boss, which is kind of weird. But what I'm trying to get to be able to let you know is that her sister basically gets into this plane, and the plane starts going down. Like the engine just goes shot. And Joe and I, we were both kind of freaking out because, like Supergirl, she looked immediately, which is so cool. Her X-ray vision showed everything that was going on in the plane, like miles away into the air. And so she starts to go down this alley, and she starts running, and then she starts jumping, and then she finally jumped into the air. I was like, oh, this CG's on point. I was like, she's on fleek. She was just went up. And she was trying to get to the thing, but it wasn't like it was easy for her. Like she had to actually like push herself to get that thing through. And she was even like, come on, you know? And then she kind of dug it, and then she turned it to the side. I thought that was some really awesome CG how they did that. That was a really cool scene. But then her sister has the audacity of like, yeah, you explored yourself. I'm like, Ninja, I just saved you and everybody on that plane. And you got to talk to me this way? And I thought that was like, why is she doing that? You know? And it turns out like she works for this group named DEO, Department of Earth Operation or something like that. I don't even know who that is. I don't know what that group is. I gotta look back through the mythology of Supergirl if that's a real thing. But supposedly they were the ones that shot her down with the kryptonite darts. My question is, okay, Kryptonite hasn't even been introduced in the Man of Steel or Batman vs Superman. Pretty sure it will be in Batman vs Superman. Probably Batman's gonna be the one to create it, or either Lex Luthor. But it hasn't even been introduced there. Why would you confuse the fans and put it up here? And like, how did they get it? Like, what's the timeline between Man of Steel, Batman vs Superman, and this? You know, and that kind of bugged me. You know what I'm saying? I don't know. What's your thoughts on some of the stuff from this episode?
Well, I mean, kind of leaving off what you just said. I mean, so like about the Kryptonite. Not only that, like, you don't know when they found out about it, and not only that, but you don't know where they got it from. And if that's the case, if they have the power to actually have accessible kryptonite, that they would just waste, not, well, it seems like they just wasted on her, really.
Yeah.
And then the villain she's fighting, you know what I'm saying, you would think that they would actually be vulnerable to this kryptonite as well. You know what I'm saying? Like to me, it didn't make sense. You know what I'm saying? But at the same time, the same token, I think it was a good introduction of how, like, introducing like the agency and pretty much her sister's involvement with it, because she's actually like a ranking officer, and so that was pretty cool. Also, with kind of like moving forward, they talked about these villains and how they landed on Earth. So pretty much after, you know, the Phantom Zone was opened up, and, you know, Supergirl's ship came on the right trajectory and went straight to Earth. She brought with her, you know, I forgot the name of it, but it was like pretty much a prison, like a prison space station, with all these prisoners on it, and they got sucked into her trajectory and also landed on Earth. So I thought that was really clever how that whole thing transpired, and how they kind of linked Supergirl up with these villains.
Yeah.
And how they're kind of like interwoven. So I thought that was pretty cool. They also introduced, like, they also hint around like Supergirl's parents as well. And there's a lot of history with her parents. Same thing with Superman. Like, you can tell, like, her parents set a lot of things in motion with sending her here. And not only that, but, you know, the villains, and also kind of like the current situation of things like now can be linked back to what things her parents have started. Yeah. And I think that's also really cool. And there's also a lot of you know what I'm saying, introduction to a lot of different characters, and it's like the backstories on each of these characters is just like, can, like, going further in the series, I can see them being very in depth.
Jimmy Olsen, what's your thoughts?
Jimmy Olsen, he's black.
He's black and he's proud. Nah.
He's black, and Supergirl, you know, probably got the feels for him. So
yeah,
I'm just like, you know, I'm all for it. Interracial relationships, you know. So that.
I thought you were Iris's boo. You were smelling Supergirl a little bit, man.
You were too?
No, I wasn't. I'm always gonna be an Iris dude, man. I'm sorry, but I mean, she was looking kind of cute though. Anyway, how they segueing into Jimmy Olsen, he has said at some point to her basically that he basically was kind of sent there by Clark. And I thought that was really interesting that he's like, I set up a deal, I was going to go branch out on my own, and he was like, well, do me this favor, you know, and it was basically kind of help her out or look after her or whatever. And I thought that was a really good segue, because she was like, well, why didn't he just come and tell me this is what he wanted me to be or do? He was like, well, he had to figure out his way on his own. He wanted you to do the same exact thing. I thought that was a really well played out thing, because I suspected, like I said to Joe, I was like, I feel like he knows her secret. Just the way he was kind of covering for her and watching out for her. But then even the IT nerd, I don't know why he's even in this show. The IT nerd kind of helps her out with her costumes, and how the progression of her costume goes. It kind of paid homage to the older one, to the new one, and I thought it was really cool, subtle touch, because he was like, yeah, this is not bulletproof. Yeah, this is not flame resistant. Yeah, this is not aerodynamic because of the cape. And then eventually, like, Jimmy gives her Kal-El's old blanket that actually was indestructible from bullets, and so I thought that was a really nice touch. But I don't know, like, I don't know why, I don't know if I trust the IT guy. Like, he made a statement basically, you're gonna find a person one day that you're gonna fall in love with. When you see him, like, you're gonna know. And instantly she kind of like saw Jimmy, and she's just like, she was taken back. I could tell it. But I'm like, what is the IT guy's play in all this? And then at the very end, you find out that Kara has an aunt that's still alive that wants to kill her. Like, and I'm not even sure why. Like, they consider her the general. Now, does that mean that she took up the rails for General Zod after he died? What is his role with all this? Because basically she's considered the general. And I thought when they said general is the one that's gonna be you're gonna have to be worried about, I thought they were talking about General Zod, but it wasn't. It was like her aunt. And like they're kind of playing on all the metahumans or whatever these like prisoners are that she's gonna be fighting, are guests from different planets, and they're all over Earth. They've been there since she's been born. Since she got here. So I think that's an interesting dynamic, but at the same time, like, I don't know. Like, it could come off cliche if they don't progress it right. They've got a lot that they can go with. But all in all, like I said, like, it was a lot of exciting thrills. It was a lot better than what the trailer perceived it to be, in my opinion. And I mean, it looks and boasts that it could be pretty good. Now, I've heard that they're not going to connect these with Arrow or Flash like they said they were, which sucks. Because that is a real opportunity of doing something great between multiple different stations. But I guess we're gonna have to see. Any closing thoughts? Oh, I give it an 8 out of 10 for the first pilot episode.
Yeah, I give it an 8.
Any closing thoughts?
Nope.
So would you recommend this to everybody to check it out at least? Female empowerment. It's there in this series. It's there. It's there. It's subtly there. I don't know if it's written there or just they typecast the right kind of people for it, but female empowerment is an embodiment of how they're doing this. And yeah, Joe has a really in-depth like thing about that. If you go to the non-spoiler review, you be able to check it out. That was pretty cool. It was pretty cool.
I said it on this review.
Nuh-uh.
Yeah, I did.
You said it on the other one.
I did.
Yeah, you did.
I said it on this one.
Nuh-uh.
Listen. Wait, I don't remember. All I know is, as far as me recommending this, I mean, I have to, like, thus far, I can't really say, like, you know, I'd recommend it just because, well, I would recommend it now just because, like, there's not really much on to watch.
Like that.
No, I'm not saying that's bad. I'm not saying it's bad. I'm just saying for the first episode, like, to me, Gotham and Flash, like, I recommend those to everybody. I'm like, bro, you have to watch these shows. You know what I'm saying? If I'm talking to someone on the street, I'm like, man, you have to watch these shows. Like, you literally have to.
Yeah.
This one's a good show, but I don't necessarily feel like you have to watch it.
Yeah.
I don't feel like, you know what I'm saying? I don't feel like, oh my gosh, like, you would be freaking.
So you haven't been pulled in yet.
Exactly.
It hasn't wowed you. And I mean, we're not saying that. I want to clarify this. We're not saying this because this is a female lead. Because if you look at Mad Max and you watch our review for it, Furiosa is a bigger star than Max is.
Oh no!
Like, she's an OG.
Even Supergirl's a G. Like, she's a G too. But
it's just the way that they have this. It's not hit here yet. You know what I'm saying? And it has the capacity to. I think that they got some talented people there. Especially for them to have Dean Cain and like the original Supergirl there, but it hasn't like hit that yet. So we'll see. We'll see. We'll
what
see.
happens.
But anyway, this was our spoiler-filled review for Supergirl. Hopefully you enjoyed it. If you did, leave a like below. Definitely leave your comments what you thought about it. If you've already seen the preview, or if not, you're looking at this later on, like months down the line when this is actually coming on TV. Hopefully you enjoyed it. This is SCL0320 signing out.
This your boy Joe.
Later, everybody.
Night.
Later, Supergirl. We love you.